Hello and welcome to the Sports Hour. Of course, it is 12:15, that time of day, of course, that we do this every day. Looking forward to it. There's some loud trucks outside. No clue if those are getting on the microphone or not. But regardless, we'll jump right into it because today we got some fun stuff to talk about on August 26th. The Blue Jays took two games against the Marlins and are now set to face off with the Twins for a three-game series. Forbidden Door in AEW was fantastic, and roster cuts are starting to come out for the Carolina Panthers as we are one Sunday away from our opening day. So not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So we're close. We're so close to that game against the Jaguars, to that game that's gonna really no, it's not gonna define the hype for this season, but it's definitely gonna be a benchmark. Let's just say that. As we will get right into baseball here, I'm thinking. I mean, you see the Blue Jays on the screen. You see the Blue Jay banner behind me, and of course, this series started back Friday against the Miami Marlins. A team that coming into this was under 500 and are still under 500. Um, it was a series going into it where we had to take at least two games. I would have liked a sweep in our three-game series here, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. A sweep would have been just the best, and that's what we're hoping for now against the Twins. But taking two games, not the worst. So we'll jump into those games. So Miami Marlins in Miami. So this was actually big for our away win-loss record because we've been 500 on the road. The Blue Jays have almost all season. So this is going to be pretty big. Oh, and then I guess personal news before we jump into baseball. Wearing a red shirt today. Red shirt. All your favorite teams are blue, Curtis. Why are you wearing red? Well, the Raptors are red, so you're wrong. But no, it is a shirt that was for the Canadian National University Championship for the it was for universities and colleges competing for baseball here in Ontario. And last year, I had the privilege of getting to call basically the entire nationals for baseball here. Who won? That's a great question. I think it was Acadia was in the final because they had a real good baseball program. Waterloo went 2-1, who I am the home commentator for. They went 2-1. But didn't get to advance because of the way the runs were counted. It was a very weird system, but it was a ton of fun. And I guess I'm also dropping that I'm going back to the Waterloo Warriors for some more baseball coverage. So if you ever wanted to listen to me do baseball play-by-play, then you can do so over on the University of Waterloo. I think it's either that, University of Waterloo, or the Waterloo Warriors Baseball. If you look that up on YouTube, all the games will pop up, and you'll be hearing me. You'll be hearing me doing those games. I'm going back to it this year. I've done it the last 3 years now. I think 2022 I was the broadcast director. 2023 I was the play-by-play and broadcast director. 2024 play-by-play, broadcast director. So 3 straight years of play-by-play, 4 years now of being a broadcast director, which I think it's pretty cool. It's something I don't try to take for granted, that opportunity, and just how cool it is, because it's opened the door to so much now, especially with baseball, and it's something we did. I think it was Thursday of last week. I think it was either Thursday or Wednesday when the Blue Jays. It definitely wasn't Thursday. That was a travel day, so it was either Wednesday or Tuesday of last week that I got to do the play-by-play for the game that we all watched together against the Pirates. Pretty sure Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday seems right. And, it's a little sneak peek to what I do for actual baseball games. We might as well talk about the Blue Jays. I'll stop stalling and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Do I have any more personal news that I could think of? I don't think so. I think that's really the only big thing that's come up in the last little while. So, of course, if you want to check that out, you want to check out some, me doing baseball commentary. It's the thing I want to do, So you can do that over on the University of Waterloo baseball. Anyways, okay. Let uh let us talk about the let's talk about the Blue Jays. Um, as game one was Friday, and we were all looking forward to this game because Shane Bieber was making his first start of the season. And this is huge. Our big, trade deadline acquisition. It was really exciting to see how I'd pitch, and if you can't tell by the smile on my face, quite good. He was excellent. So good. His pitching line was 6 innings pitched, 1 run, and it was earned. 1 run, 2 hits, and 9 strikeouts. Nine of the things. Are you kidding me? This guy might come in and just be an ace, and then we have him, Gosman, Barrios, who's been playing great, Scherzer's been playing great. I mean, pitcher heaven right now, which is very rare for this Blue Jay team. I mean, this has been outstanding. I again, do it again, but just based on the one game, holy, we got a guy. I really think we do. I mean, this is a guy who's been in Cy Young contention for years on the Cleveland Guardians. So, no surprises. He's great. I mean, I thought he was going to be great. So, 9 strikeouts, though. That's crazy talk. As aside from that, the game itself, we won 5-2, which phenomenal. Varsho owned this game, opening up the scoring in the first inning, and then Ty France would keep it going. And speaking of him, I like Ty France quite a bit. For a while, it was in 2021, he was an all-star for I think the first and only time in his career. I know I looked at it earlier. Either way, that was the second year of me being into fantasy baseball, and he was a big piece of multiple of my teams. So it's cool seeing him play for the Jays, and even if we could capture a bit of that all-star production that he used to have, I'll be more than happy, because at the end of the day, he's really just a rotational bat who made it 3-0 after the first inning. So it's a great sign, Blue Jays would give up 1 run. Shane Bieber would give up his one and only run in the second, but it was the 6-1 until the 6th inning. When we get to the top of the 6th, who else but Varsho would hit a huge mammoth home run, 2 runs, which, side note, and this is continued on with the game on Sunday, I think he homered in, but Varsho has 15 home runs on the season and 36 hits. He is so close to that 50% home run rate. This is one of the most unreal 3 true outcome seasons I've ever seen in my life, that I've actually been keeping up with. Because I was alive, I guess, for the, oh geez, I can't remember his name now, but, that's bad. It's not Adam Lind. I don't think it's Adam Lind. That might be a former J. I think Dunn? I'm actually going to look this up because it's, made me think about this all day now. Adam Dunn. Okay. It is Adam Dunn, the king of the 3 true outcome flyout strikeout home run. And we're seeing that from Varsho this season, who plays much better field than Adam Dunn used to, who was a net negative every single time he was on the field. So, other than the 1 run given up to early in the game, we gave up another one, solo shot given up by Rodriguez. But that would really be it. We'd win 5-2, and game 1 would be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful because of one Shane Bieber. I mean, what an outing. What a way to make an impression on your new team. There is no better way to make there is no better first impression. There's no better way to introduce yourself to your new team than saying, we're just going to go be dominant. Don't mind me, guys. Just 6 innings of 9 strikeouts, 1 run ball, 2 hits. I mean, beautiful stuff. I mean, this is the guy that was promised to us, and he's delivering. Just 2 things. 2 things to keep our eye on with him. Is consistency. Can he do it again, and can he have good outings consistently? And 2, health. Of course, he's coming off of a injury, and he's a guy who's had Tommy John before. If he can stay healthy, then this is a slam dunk for the Jays here, but gotta stay healthy. That's really the big thing. So, great first game of the series. This is exactly what we wanted, and it would only get more and more confusing as the games went on. Actually, I guess the second game is the real confusing one. The third game, I guess that's normal. But we'll get to that when we get to that, because we are moving on to the second game of the series Saturday, where the Blue Jays would make baseball history in a very strange way that we will get into. But before we get into that, just want to shout out Barrios. Barrios was terrific in this game. 6 1/3 inning pitched, 2 runs, both earned. But the second one would be given up by Varland, but it was credited to Barrios because he allowed the base runner. We'll get into that. We will, as we talk about the game. 4 hits allowed and 8 strikeouts for Barrios. It's the type of line that makes me very confused about what we're going to be doing for the playoffs. Very, I guess not confused, not concerned. I'm not concerned. That's the furthest thing. It's just we now got a little bit of a log jam at starting pitcher, which I'm very happy about. But looking towards the playoffs, if Barrios is doing this, then Barrios is a guy for sure. Gausman is a guy for sure, but took the L Sunday. Again, we'll talk about it. But Gausman's a guy for sure. And then you got, of course, Shane Bieber, who was excellent. Who knows if he'll continue to be excellent, but if he is, there's a starter right there. So there's 3 guys that could easily be your playoff 3 starters. But Max Scherzer, who's also been phenomenal, has the age, has the experience, is a guy that I would trust in the playoffs. Also, regardless of the game against the Twins that happened, which, again, we'll get into. Talk about Scherzer later. But right now, Barrios, loving that. He's had more good games than he's had bad. He's every 25% of the time. It's every 1 in 4 games, I think, will be a little shaky. But those 3 games for Barrios will be so smooth. We just got to hope that in the playoffs, that 1 out of 4 is not going to bite us when we need it. But after that game, I trust him. But I also trust Bieber. I also trust Gausman. I also trust Scherzer. So who knows? Who knows? But it makes me very happy. And this is really shocking in a post-Alek Manoah world where we're kind of done with him now, it feels like. I mean, we're done hearing news reports about him. We're done getting updates. Like, I don't really get updates anymore. It used to be a thing that happened frequently. Alek Manoah updates. How is he doing? Seems like we're done with that. And it seems like we've advanced on to a place of not really needing him anymore. I mean, you heard me gush about the pitchers. So, now, why was this game history? Why did we make baseball history? That's a great question. I hear you asking me. And we will get into that as the Blue Jays would go ahead early. 3rd inning, 1-run single for Springer would put us ahead. Yeah, again, just laughing at this game because baseball history is rare. Moving on to the top of the 6th inning, Kirk would hit a 1-run double, and Straw would be walked to draw in a run, thus making the score 3-0. Kirky's been excellent lately. He would hit a dinger against the Twins. Again, getting into that, I just had to shout him out. The top 7th, Springer with a dinger would get us up 4-0. And at this point, you could think, oh, we'll coast out the rest of this game. But sadly, bottom of the 7th, this is where Barrios would give up his 2 runs. He would get 1 out, but that would be it. The first run did come off one of his pitches, and then the second run was off of one of Varland's pitches, but of course, he allowed the runners. Still in the bottom of the 7th, of course, 2 runs have scored now, both credited to Barrios. A 3rd run would also score, this one fully credited to Varland, making it a 4-3 game and making our callers a little bit more tight, a little bit more scared, as hey, we're still winning, but it's not just a 1-run game. This score would continue to be a 1-run game into the top of the 9th inning, when one Miami Marlin would tie it up 4-4. And you think, wow, it's the bottom of the 9th, it's 4-4, they have a base runner on. No, don't worry, we got out of that situation. And that would bring us to the top of the 10th, where, hey, we'd score a run. We'd make it 5-4 on an RBI sac fly from Ty France, which is great, until the Marlins tied it up again in the bottom of the 10th. 5-5 is the ball game, which takes us to the top of the 11th. Jimenez, our Gold Glove second baseman, Hopefully he's going to win it this year. I have no idea what that's going to shake out to be this year. But he would then get on the board. A big single to make the game 6-5. I don't need to explain what happens, but I will anyways. The Marlins would then score in the bottom of the 11th to tie the game up 6-6. Where in the top of the 12th, the Blue Jays would score again. And lead into the bottom of the 12th, where we'd win. They wouldn't give up a run. We'd actually get the win. A huge 12-inning game ends with a dub for the Blue Jays, and that is where baseball history was made, as the Blue Jays became the first team to ever blow a lead in the 9th inning, the 10th inning, and the 11th. It's always fun watching baseball history when you are on the side that wins. As the full stat is, we're the first team to blow a lead in the 9th, 10th, 11th inning, but still win the game. I'm not sure if a team has ever blown a lead in the 9th, 10th, and 11th and then lost. This seems like it's a very specific situation, but regardless, really cool, really funny. And yeah, a 7-6 win in Game 2. We'd immediately take 2 games in the series, which 3-game series. So I'm happy, no matter what happened on Sunday. Bo Bichette would win the game in the top of the 12th, and Little would come in to close out the game. So, hey, do it however you can when it comes to the bullpen and the pitchers. Just as long as you get that win, I don't care who does it. So, yeah, first time in MLB history that had happened. And if that ain't a sign for how the season's going and going to go, then I don't know what is. So, a fun time. And then Sunday, less fun time. We drop our final game to the series, 5-3. This would be Gosman's start, and he would get hit with the L in this one. 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs on 7 hits, but had 7 Ks and only 1 walk. So take the good with the bad. He was still getting his strikeouts. He wasn't walking guys. He had his control, and he still went 6 innings. 4 runs, that's where it kind of sucks because, if our offense is showing up, those 4 runs don't matter. Like the Twins game, we allowed 4 runs and no one cares because we won 10-4. I care, obviously, and we'll talk about that when we get on to the Twins game, but that's because I'm strict, and I really believe in this team, and so I'm going to hold them to an extremely high standard, which, involves criticizing 10-4 wins. It does, and that's what the coaching staff is also most likely doing, because if you want to win, you can't give up 4 runs. Like, if you want to win in the playoffs, you can't give up 4 runs. That's the be-all and end-all. Sure, you could get 10 runs, but in the playoffs, are you? We'll see. Most likely not. And so 4 runs matter all that much more. Every little one. I feel like 2 is my, safe point for the playoffs. Either way, we'll get into the game. Would love to see the runs go down for Gosman, but still, I like that line. We go down 4-0 by the 5th inning in this one, and, other than Varsho, the team had packed it in and called it a game. It seemed like they were kind of just Varsho would hit a 3-run home run to make this score 4-3, putting us back into it, but that was sadly too little too late. We would then give up, I'm pretty sure, a 1-run bomb later on to lose 5-3, which, tough game to close out the series, but clearly it didn't stick in the Blue Jays' heads too long, because, there was no real issues when it came to the game against the Twins. The big thing, though, to take from that game is still got runs. Varsho has been great, and he's actually getting his average up, which was the big thing about him. He was struggling to get on base, and he was struggling to, get his average, but his slugging was tremendous. Since I last looked, which was about a month or so ago when he came back from injury, the numbers have just gotten better and better. And this is big because he's been so good for us these past 2 seasons. We want him to be great, and we want him to be healthy. This is not a guy who hits for a great average. His past 2 seasons with the Blue Jays, he hit a 220 and 214 clip, which isn't great. This season, hitting 230, 229 if you want to be exact, which, hey, it's an improvement. If you look at his on-base percentage numbers, he's usually a 28.5% of the time guy. It was 28.5, 29.3, and this season's been 28.2. That's the biggest downside. That is what we don't like about Varsho. He's not so much a get on base guy. He's so much if I'm hitting it, it's going out. So, screw my average, screw my on base percentage. All that matters is slugging. And well, slugging has been pretty good as he is slugging a 580. 580. Now, that might not make a lot of sense to you if you don't know stats. For reference, last season, he was slugging a 407. And that was with 18 home runs and 58 RBIs. So this season, he's slugging a 580 18 home runs last season, 15 this year. For reference, we'll pull up Barry Bonds. I mean, it's a good place to reference numbers because he has some of the best all time. And whether that was due to steroids or years and years of being great in the game and also taking steroids, still, it's the benchmark for greatness. And we're talking about Dalton Varsho, which I think is pretty hilarious that we're talking about greatness and we're bringing up Dalton Varsho. But when you talk slugging, Barry Bonds in his best years had a 863, a 799, a 749, and an 812. In his more regular seasons, where he was with Pittsburgh and still really good, back-to-back MVPs in 92-93 with the Pittsburgh and then moved on to San Fran, his slugging was 624 and 677, and those led the league. 624 led the league. Dalton Varsho right now, 580. Not that far off, which is kind of unreal. It's unreal. I mean, again, should not be comparing him to all-time greats, obviously, but that one stat, the fact he's hitting a 580 slugging, this is why I call it a historic season, because this is for a regular, non-all-star, non-MVP MLB player, not named Barry Bonds, hitting upwards of a .500 slugging and hitting above that. It's as rare as it gets. To compare him against someone a little bit more human, we'll compare him with his teammate, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, of course, is usually, a guy you can expect for those sweet, juicy numbers. This season, in comparison to Varsho's 230 batting average, Vladdy's hitting 297. His on-base percentage is 39.5. Varsho's is 28. His is 39.5. But his slugging, 495. Almost 100 points less than what Varsho has. And that is just how unreal Varsho has been. And this season that he is having a comparable slugging, keynote slugging. The rest of the season is completely different. But slugging season for him. That he's honestly being compared to guys like Vladdy and Barry Bonds in my mind. Just for the one stat, don't get it carried away with anything else, because Vladdy is 10 times the player that, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say 10 times, because he doesn't have the center fielder work like Varsho has. But, if you look at WAR, he's double the player that Varsho is. That's all for the stats. Looking at Varsho especially, because, I don't know, he just fascinates me this season. Varsho in particular, guy that I've been following all year. Fascinating. And then we will move on. We will talk about the first game against the Twins here. So, 10-4 win. Feels great. I did miss the game because I was watching Forbidden Door, AEW Forbidden Door. So, I didn't miss much. It seems like just a ton of offense. Getting into the game, though, Max Scherzer, he would go 6 innings, allowing 4 runs on 4 hits, 5 Ks. And this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, that's the same thing Gausman did. 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Gausman had more strikeouts by 2. But again, those stat lines, pitching stat lines, Scherzer and Gausman, literally one day apart. And yet one gets an L, one gets a W, one gets seen as really good, one gets seen as really bad. I don't know if people are looking at that Scherzer line and being like, oh, this is amazing. But still, I know people are looking at that Gausman line and saying, ooh, this kind of worries me. And I think that is a mistake. I think both those lines are good lines. But again, you want that earned run and just run total in general to go below 4. Hover around 3, hover around 2. and then I'm confident. But right now, I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. I very much so don't know. Barrios, Scherzer, Gosman, and Shane Bieber. So who knows? Who knows? I can't think of any other pitchers in that starting rotation. At least I can't think of any that would earn it. I remember we had Bowden Francis. He didn't last long. Eric Lauer, who's still phenomenal, but is doing long relief from the bullpen, which is great, and will be really big in the playoffs. Actually, I'm confident with Eric Lauer is. Looking at the offense from this game, Bo, Kirk, Varsho, Jimenez, Springer, Lucas, and Vladdy all getting in on the fun, driving in runs. Jimenez hit a home run, and I just find that fun. Unexpected pop from our guys. Now, we better sweep the Twins. We better, because it is going to be a tough schedule moving forward for our Blue Jays. I mean, our next series starting, I don't remember what day it was. I think it's going to be tomorrow as our last game against the Twins. I'm not sure if they got a travel day, so it's either going to be Thursday or Friday. We face off against the Brew Crew, the MLB's best Milwaukee Brewers. So there's your test. Better pass. As now, I've talked about the Blue Jays for 25 minutes. I feel like that's pretty good. They deserved it because they've been playing great. Looking forward to the playoffs. There's nothing really more I can say now that I haven't said before. So we'll look towards that series against the Brewers. Hopefully we win tonight and tomorrow against the Twins. Now, we will be jumping into a little AEW Forbidden Door, taking place in the O2 Arena in London, England? In England. I'll just say England. Maybe London, maybe not. Who knows? It's not like I have Google in front of me and I can find out exactly where the O2 Arena is. No, that would be too easy. That would be, way too easy. It is on the River Thames, so I would have to assume London. Yeah. Well, that's actually in a really cool spot. So, in London, in the O2 Arena, they got, I'm pretty sure the official number was 18.9 thousand people in the building. I'm pretty sure it was some type of record. I'm not sure if it was a record for the O2, because, I mean, it's a historic place and probably has other types of venues and events that, seat more people. Who knows? But it seemed like every single seat was packed and the floor was, just a sea of humanity. And just awesome. So cool. I mean, the O2 Arena, what an awesome place for a pay-per-view. I hope they do it again. I mean, in the future. Love the London crowds. This was awesome. So we'll jump right into it. We'll first go over the 0 Hour, which, fun fact, I haven't seen yet. That's probably going to be tonight. I was going to do it this morning. Got a little busy. So maybe, tonight I'll watch a little Forbidden Door 0 Hour. And shout out Dave Collings in the chat, my dad, saying record for wrestling at the O2. So I knew it was some kind of record. And yes, for wrestling, that's the most amount of people they've ever packed in, because of course for wrestling it is. This is AEW. So getting into it, the first match was an 8-man tag team match. El Desperado, Paragon, that's of course Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, and Umera defeated the heel team of Crew, which is Action Andretti and Leo Rush, and the Don Callis family, which was Hechicero and Josh Alexander. So, good for the faces here. I'm pretty sure I picked the heel team to win for this one. So, not my finest hour. We move on to the next show in the kickoff, which is GOA and Ricochet taking on Jet Speed and Michael Oku, which is really cool to see Michael Oku. I really want to see him just in AEW normally, but I think he's a little preoccupied. But that's definitely going to be a one-day, keep your eye out for this guy coming over. That is, Michael Oku. He was the guy that I'm sure if you've been on Twitter looking at clips from this show, he's the guy that got pounced over the top rope onto the outside, which is just a amazing clip. It's so funny looking. Ricochet, Ricochet and GOA would get the win in this one, and I'm pretty sure I picked the faces to win this one, so I'm 0 for 2 at this point. Or maybe I got that one right, because I know I got this match wrong, because I was genuinely surprised that in our 8-woman tag team match, Megan Bayne and the Triangle of Madness, our spooky spider ladies, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla, defeated the face team of Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale, which genuinely surprised that they had Harley Cameron lose here, as this is one of her first matches back since the whole face injury. But still, hopefully a good match. I don't know, I'll be watching it tonight. They had the heels win this one. I'm excited to watch it later on. And then the final match of our kickoff show is the World Trios titles, which have been relegated to the kickoff show for so long now, which is really disappointing to me, especially, knowing the heights that those titles had. The 7-match series between the Death Triangle and the Kenny and the Bucks, the Cucks, the Young Cucks. Oh God, we're not doing another Hung Bucks. That's bad. They had a terrific 7-match series, and then the House of Black had it, and they made those things feel so important, and they changed them up, and now the Death Rise had them for a while, didn't feel important. The Ops have them now, they don't feel important. I really want to see a return to great for the trio styles, because I think there's so many good trios, but either way, the Ops would retain, as we all could have guessed. They fought Bullet Club War Dogs, which is Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, and Robbie X from New Japan. Again, I'll be watching that tonight, as we now get into the main card. The show that I actually did see, and hey, it wasn't 5 hours long, so that was nice. Although I do like good wrestling. So, jumping into our first match here, it was okay. There's a lot of stuff on this show that confused me. I liked, but confused me. And so we got Adam Copeland and Christian Cage defeating Killswitch, the returning Luchasaurus, and Kip Sabian. Great match, ton of fun. Not what confused me. The outcome was great. Cope goes to hug Christian. Christian's having none of it. It looks like they're still going to have to be together because, of course, Cope has now helped Christian out with his little family issue. Probably going to help him more, but, now it's up to Christian to help Cope with his FTR issue. And, of course, we'll get into that later when we talk about the tag match. We'll get into it. But this match was a ton of fun. Really cool to see Christian and Copeland tagging together, as I'm pretty sure the last time they did was in 2005, and I was a 2-year-old. And now I am 22, and I'm watching them tag together. Life is crazy. Life is crazy. Really, yeah, it really is that. Of course, there's no animosity between Christian and Cope, but they're getting there. The next match, we all knew the outcome of this match going into it, but hey, the point of this was to have fun, and fun was had. Kyle Fletcher defeated Hiromu Takahashi. These guys, really fun. I love Kyle Fletcher, and he was getting a lot of cheers in this one, which, I mean, hey, my fellow Fletch heads out there, love it, love to hear it. This was a ton of fun. Takahashi was trying to kill himself most of the time, I thought, which commentary explains that he is the Darby Allin of New Japan. He'll do crazy things, and he doesn't feel pain like normal people, but can still sit down for the 1, 2, 3 as the sheer drop brainbuster, which my dad was saying that he thought it was going to have to be from the top rope just to put this guy away, but alas, just a normal one. Kyle Fletcher looking strong. Big win for my boy. I love seeing it. Then we had our TBS 4-way match. This was awesome. I personally loved it. I think Bozilla is the future of women's wrestling, personally. We'll get into that, though. As the champion, Mercedes Moné retains her title against Bozilla, Alex Windsor, and Persephone, or Persephone, as if you want to meme. Persephone was pretty cool too. When she was making her way down to the ring, the commentary was like, usually a competitor who uses her strength to her advantage. And we did see her do a couple really cool, really strong spots, but was overshadowed by one of the coolest looking women's wrestlers I've seen in my entire life, Bozilla, a 6 foot tall, 200 plus behemoth of a woman who, again, I've never seen anyone that looks like this. Watching the match live, I kept thinking to myself, that looks like a female Brock Lesnar, just based on appearance and build, and the way that she made every other woman in that ring look like a child. And it was woman handling them. It was, oh, she's awesome. And it's something that my family and I talked about is, you think Tony Khan is calling her up and saying, hey, moment your contract is done, you're coming over, because she would kill it in AEW, would be such an amazing heel monster champion. Again, future of women's wrestling. She is younger than me. She's 21. I'm 22. She's younger than me and bigger than me. And she's awesome. She's the son. Jesus Christ. She's the daughter. That's better. She is the daughter of former German wrestler Hermann, Ulf Hermann, I think was his first name. A guy that had wrestled in ECW in the past. Had lost to Lil Spike Dudley in a 1 minute match where the entrances were 2 minutes and the match itself was 1. So, And then, that's actually pretty big. Dave Collins in the chat there saying that SRS has said that Tony has been after her for a few years now, which is not surprising. Probably since she was 18 years old, seeing as they signed Nick Wayne the moment he turned 18. It was like, yep, all right, you're going on regular television now that you're an adult. Commentary during this women's match kept talking about how Bozilla was a newcomer, only 3 years into the business, which I kept calling BS on because she's the daughter of a pro wrestler and has probably been wrestling her entire life. No way at 18 years old she goes, I'm going to start wrestling. So I thought that was my only gripe. Literally the only gripe I had with this entire match was commentary. Because I felt like they were trying to respect Bozilla, but they were disrespecting her through their respect, if that makes any sense. So hopefully we see her in AEW as a mainstay. Tony, let's hope so. Ooh, that is big news. Apparently Ulf Hermann is a WWE scout. So that could be a little bit of an issue, but hey, yeah, no, that's going to be an issue. She's so going to get stolen up by WWE and those pricks. We all know, I'm sorry, WWE, if you offered me a job, I'd come work for you, and so forget that I ever said that. But, but what happened with Stephanie Vaquer, 2024, I'm pretty sure, Forbidden Door, one-on-one against Mercedes Moné. What happened immediately after? Oh, she signed to WWE. That was never going to happen unless she fought Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door, and now what's going to happen with Bozilla, and it's going to make me real sad, really sad, because they also don't need her. They don't need Bozilla. They got Piper Niven, who's a big hulking lady, and they got Nia Jax, who does the job, especially the WWE job. Give us someone who's a good wrestler, one, at least I was impressed, and two, we don't have anyone like that. The only one would be Nyla Rose, who's similar enough, and then Megan Bayne, who is shredded, not big, shredded, but big, but not huge. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but again, Bozilla, one of a kind, one of one, was my MVP of this match. Legitimately, she was phenomenal. So cool. So cool. I mean, Alex Windsor was also great. Same with Persephone. I really liked this match. If you're interested in getting into women's wrestling, maybe you don't like it, maybe you have never really given it a chance, maybe you've been a fan of WWE forever and known that they never gave women a chance and always disrespected women, and maybe you just never really thought to give them a chance, and maybe you don't watch AEW where you don't see the women wrestle, and AEW also doesn't let them wrestle enough. If you want to get into women's wrestling, you watch this match. This match was everything right with women's wrestling and why it is so damn cool. So watch it, seek it out. I love doing that. I love saying seek out this match. Honestly, of Forbidden Door, this might be my match to go make you seek out because it was that cool. It was that much fun. This next match also might be one for a similar reason, but also for different reasons. If you want to watch technical wrestling and you want to get into real technical wrestling, where obviously it's still work, it's still fake, but real like real cool like art. It's art. This is wrestling is art. You go and watch this match. So 2 matches in a row, I would say go watch them right now. This one was for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship as Zack Sabre Jr. defeated our very own Nigel McGuinness, who these guys had met 11 years ago, and it was said that Zack Sabre Jr. was disappointed that he would never get his match against Nigel McGuinness, but then that was made real with All In last year, 2024, when they faced off in the Casino Gauntlet and made this moment feel real and led us up to this. Really, really awesome stuff. This match was so much fun. The holds, the nosebleed that Zack Sabre Jr. had, these guys were feeling it, and I was feeling it as an audience member. Really, really cool match. Another one, please go check this out. If you want to introduce yourself to technical wrestling, do it right now. Of course, AEW is the spot where technical wrestling lives and thrives. So maybe you're used to technical wrestling at this point, but if you're not, go check this out. And the only thing I will say is suspend your disbelief. They're not trying to punch and kick each other like normal wrestling matches. They're not trying to do big strikes. It's all about grappling. It's all about holds. And I think about this a lot. When I went to All In Texas this year, I sat next to a kid who I think it was his first or one of his first times really experiencing wrestling. And people were doing grappling moves on the ground, putting each other in holds. And he says, "Why don't you punch them? Why don't you just kick them?" And it's like, no, because they're doing holds. They're grappling. Don't go into this expecting slams and punching and kicking and striking, because this is wrestling to its core and wrestling to a T. We'll head on to the next match, a match that I would have recommended if the ending was better. The AEW Tag Team Championship match. This is going to be Brodito facing off against FTR and facing off against, of course, the champions, the Hurt Syndicate. Boom! So much comes out around AEW pay-per-views that is so not true. Stuff about how MVP and the Hurt Syndicate don't like Speedball Mike Bailey, which immediately is proved to be false. Or at least, like, overblown. It's because it's not surprising that a 50-plus-year-old black man would maybe not get along with a 20 to 30s year old non-binary wrestler. There's no surprise that they wouldn't get along. Do they have to be best friends? No. But they clearly get along enough. And then the newest thing that came out was, of course, they don't think they should drop the belts to teams that don't deserve it. Which one? I guess that's true. True. Fine. Whatever. But that I think was in relation to talking about jet speed. But if that's about FTR, talking about teams that deserve to beat you, FTR is the best tag team on the planet and potentially has a case for the best tag team of all time in history of the world. They have a case. They're in there. Maybe when all is said and done, they will, because right now, mid-career, hard to tell. But either way, they're deserving. So I think that was all BS. And then the way this match ended really confirmed it in my mind that that was a BS report. So we might as well get into that, as this was a really fun match. I love Brody King and I love Bandito. These guys are so much fun. I love Brodito, but I've talked about it before, and I'll say it again. I was ready for them to split up again and be singles guys. A big thing with that is that Swerve and Ospreay, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, most likely both need surgery and will mostly both be out for around a month or longer. And you know what that means? We're going to be lacking faces. Other than like Hangman and Mark Briscoe, kind of drying up there. That's why you want a guy like Brody King, sorry Brody, rest in peace. Brody King to come step up and be that singles guy to challenge for some of these belts and maybe win one or two. Maybe challenge a guy like Okada. I would love to see Brody King defeat Okada for the Continental belt, or the Unified belt, excuse me. And then be the champ going into the C2. Screw it. This is a guy that deserves it. But alas, he'll be a different type of champion. As Bro Dito wins, they take the tag belts off the Hurt Syndicate. Which is weird to me, personally. I mean, it's cool, and it's a cool face champion for your tag division. First, we'll talk about how the match ended, as FTR was doing their thing where they do the suplex and the splash. But Bandito pushed Cash off the top rope, dove off onto Dax. He and Brody King then did their monkey flip splash, where Bandito would then make the pin, fall off Dax while making the pin, hop back on him, and then complete the pin. And it looked awful. If we're being honest with each other, it looked horrendous and ruined the moment for me. Personally, ruined the moment. I was like, oh, well, okay. And that's how the match ended. And then I started thinking about storylines. And then I got really concerned. Because, and you heard me talk about it, this whole thing felt like it was building up to FTR winning, being the champions, and then losing to Cope and Christian in Toronto, where my dad would literally cry if Cope and Christian won the big one, won the AEW World Tag Team titles, the first time they've been tag champs together in over 20 years in their hometown, over the guy that put Cope on the shelf for months with his brother best friend, with confetti flying. Fans would cry. My dad would cry. Cope and Christian would both be in tears in the ring. And yet we're not doing that. And now, heading into the next pay-per-view, All Out, your biggest tag match isn't with your champions. And I feel like they're going to do this 2 pay-per-views in a row and make the tag belts feel non-important. That's my number one gripe. I don't mind Bro Dito being together still. They're cool. They're really fun. They're going to have great tag matches. I have no concerns with that. My concern is fully in the storylines relating to Cope and Christian and how that's going to make Bro Dito feel vastly unimportant. Because that's the thing. I feel like no matter what AEW does with Bro Dito now, people are going to struggle to care. Because when we get to All Out, and one of the main events is Cope and Christian facing off against FTR, or that opens the show, either or, wherever it's put, the tag team title match later on or before it, who cares? Legitimately, who gives a shit? You have Cope and Christian tagging together, facing FTR. Why do I care about any other tag? And then that hurts the champions. There's nothing they can do in my mind that will make me care about the tag team titles more than I care about Cope and Christian. So why not make Cope and Christian fight for the titles? Make it all come together. This is your story of the tag division. Every division gets its own story. The singles division had the big Hangman story. The tag story has been Hurt Syndicate into FTR into Cope and Christian. With the Eliminator tournament and everything, weekly television, leading up to this natural conclusion. And they decide, nope. And now this moment in All Out is going to be great, not amazing. And that pissed me off. And that's the simplest way I can say it. It makes the tag belts feel unimportant. It hurts them in the standing in the card. And it hurts the moment that Cope and Christian are going to have. Less people will talk about it now. Simple. It's the simple fact of it. If they win the big one, they're showered in confetti. That's 10 plus million views. Easily. Impressions online. Right there. That's eyes. Now it's going to be like 2 to 5 million people will see it and be like, oh, cool. They beat FTR. The guys, the people like me and my dad that watch the weekly programming, they will be like, yeah. But the people that don't watch weekly, they have no reason to care. Other than the fact that it's just a match that is happening. Moving on, we will talk about the AEW Women's World Title match as Athena would lose to Toni Storm, as Toni Storm did not kick out of Athena's top rope stunner. So 2 thumbs up there, nothing to worry about. They could have another match, and they should have another match because these two worked amazing together. They were just so much fun. And Athena really did have Toni Storm's number for a lot of this match. Billie Starkz also getting involved during the match was a lot of fun. Again, I just think great match. Another one to go check out, honestly. Not as much as the 4-way earlier, but really fun. This would then lead into the AEW World Championship match as Hangman Adam Page defeated MJF, who was trying everything. The countouts, the DQs, any resort he could go to, he would, to try to win that title. He couldn't. We even had a ref bump go down, and that didn't help either. It was talk about MJF actually. Rewind earlier in the night. I don't remember when, but Wardlow came back. Wardlow, yeah, sick. Really happy to see Wardlow back. And Wardlow is now with the Don Callis family. It was after the Fletcher match. He is now in the Don Callis family, and the G1 winner Konosuke Takeshita then came out after, and the whole family was together. Talk about a scary faction. Anyways, back to MJF, who Wardlow did make himself known in this one. I don't think they're ever gonna. I don't know if they're gonna cross paths again. It logically makes sense to, but I don't think AEW wants them to, and I think they're like, all right, that story's done. Let's not worry about it anymore. So who knows? Either way, this was a lot of fun. Really like Hanger. Love MJF. The blood. Oh my god. Hanger got it started, but his dried up pretty quick. Maxwell was dripping everywhere. Caked in it. Looked unreal. It looked so good. There was a table broken on the outside that then Hangman got tombstoned onto, and it didn't break. Oh, it was unreal. Heat Seeker pin. There was a ref bump. Then the Heat Seeker pile driver from MJF. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3. Even though Hangman put his foot on the rope at 1. Whatever. After that, Mark Briscoe then came down. I don't remember doing anything. Then Bryce Rensburg, the ref, woke up, was like, something's not right here. His foot's on the rope. And they kept the match going. A little weird, but cool, I guess. Then there was a distraction as MJF went to the outside, grabbed both his contract and the title belt, slid the title belt in the ring. That's when Bryce picked it up and threw it to the outside. MJF comes in, nails Hangman with the contract, the metal contract case, and 2 count. We're alive still. Then Hangman grabs the clipboard while Bryce was distracted and cracks this thing over MJF's head, over his skull. It was bent in half. And I thought the noise it made, the way it looked, this was awesome. I laughed because this is perfect weapon spot. And then, of course, gives him the Deadeye, Buckshot Lariat, 1, 2, 3, and our cowboy wins. Of course, MJF was way laid out at the end of this match, so he was not going to be cashing in at all. No shit. But Hanger grabbed the contract and laid it over his chest, almost daring him to do it again. Of course, I'm getting all my information from the allelitewrestling.com page. They have a kind of review, recap of what happened at Forbidden Door. So it's been a lot of fun. Then the match ends with a lights out steel cage match with, oh my god, a couple guys that are on the verge of dying, deciding, why not? Let's do it. Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay are all on the verge of death, it feels like. Ospreay has herniated discs and whatnot. Tanahashi is old and can't really walk anymore. Old. And then Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi are held together by duct tape. I'm pretty sure Kenny needs surgery, and Kota Ibushi is like just getting healthy and like just starting to put on bangers again. And then of course Darby Allin was in this match, but we don't have to worry about him. He's made of rubber. It's Darby. He right here, he's fine. They of course defeated our faces, won against the team of the Death Riders. So that was of course Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Gabe Kidd. And the Young Bucks of Matt and Nick Jackson. Heels lost, faces won. Super fun match. I don't really want to talk about it that much because I just want to say watch it. This was awesome. This is so much fun. It was like War Games, but with one ring, and everyone entered at the exact same time. So it was just 24/7 chaos, and I loved it. Ospreay jumped from the top. We had a couple moments that were huge. Kenny Omega getting in the ring with Gabe Kidd again, and Kenny Omega getting in the ring with Jon Moxley. Those two feuds are some of the best feuds that Kenny has had in the last 5 years. Of course, there's one in there with a certain Rainmaker that is his best feud, obviously, Kazuchika Okada, but those two guys are very close second. I mean, the Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley feud was practically what built AEW, and so seeing them square off was so cool. Of course, our faces would win. Go check it out. This is my second or third match on the card where I say, watch this match, seek it out, Dailymotion, TSN, wherever you can find it, you find this match and you watch it. The match ended, I will say how it ended. Kenny Omega, One Wing Angel, combined with a Hidden Blade, and then a high fly flow from Tanahashi to end the match. They could have pinned him for 25 seconds and they still would have won. Those are three of the most protected finishers. Well, not Ospreay's, but One Wing Angel and high fly flow. Felt like the article here I read, it felt like all good vibes, and it did. And for us, I'll tell the story how I saw it. So, match ends. Ospreay is alone in the ring. I thought he was going to do a little promo for the crowd and being like, hey, bruv, I'm injured and I'll be out for a bit. But our pay-per-view feed cut before he said a word. He never had the microphone. He just was in the ring. Cut. It started playing the pay-per-view dun dun music, and there was nothing else. Now that's what happened for us here. I guess maybe Coach Go, Canada, something. Because the real pay-per-view kept going. I assume he cut a promo, and then the Death Riders came in, locked the door, and beat the piss out of him. They gave him a bunch of attacks that focused on the neck, the paradigm shift, and then they put the chair over his head and stomped it. Looks like fully writing him out to go get his surgery, to go rest up, which sucks because we love Will Ospreay. But yeah, and that was officially the closing of the show. This was awesome. Another just banger pay-per-view with really only one spot of criticism, which was that tag team title. Other than that, this was 10 out of 10. I just held up 6, but it's 10 out of 10. Awesome pay-per-view. It feels good to be an AEW fan. Legitimately, every single Wednesday, and then every so often on Sunday or Saturday, I'm treated to the best wrestling, potentially of all time. That's pretty cool. And we did have a pretty good day today here on the Sports Hour. presented by Curtis Collings. Ton of fun. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about the Panthers again. Of course, more Blue Jay talk. And AEW, as tomorrow is Wednesday. So more of the same. We didn't get to the Panthers today. That's okay. Nothing really huge is happening. We'll talk a bit about that preseason game that happened. I don't care about. And then the roster cuts. The first wave of cuts has come out, but we'll wait till tomorrow to properly dissect those. I do want to say thank you for tuning in to the Sports Hour presented by Curtis Collings. It is 1:15